It is Mr. Jim Jefferies.
Hello.
Jim, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
You were just telling me before we officially started how much you despise and loathe America and think it's and you said death to America. You chanted it over and over off air.
Yes.
Death to America.
Yep,
yeah.
That's me all over. No, I like America. I'm an American citizen, man. I fought to stay in this country. So, but it's funny when you have this accent, if you do any the gun control routine or something like that, you criticize anything, you seem to be unpatriotic or why are you here or something like that.
Yeah.
But every country's got their pluses and their minuses and stuff. I'm very proud Australian, very proud American.
I want to go to Australia. I've never been. I have fans that are down that have said, come down. I had one offer to go and the date didn't match. I was like, can I have another date? And they're like, we got to send you one in a couple months.
You can just go. I was talking to Jay Leno once, and he was like, yeah, I'd like to go to Australia. He goes, I just don't know if I'd sell that many tickets. And I was like, you can just,
Jay Leno?
Yeah, you can just go, man.
Yeah, you just go.
Yeah, I think
you'll be fine.
Just take your wife and go on a holiday, mate. You'll be fine.
That's what I do want to do. I do want to just go on vacation. But then a piece of me is like, shouldn't I go down there and work? I've never worked down there.
Well, I don't know what your following is, or we have the podcast reaching Australia.
16 or 17 people are listening to me consistently.
Great.
Week to week.
Right. Well, they'd come.
Yeah.
So but there's theaters and stuff you can play, or there's comedy clubs you can play.
I would want to do a small little theater out there.
Yeah, you could definitely do that.
Didn't what's his name move down there because he was so successful?
Arj Barker.
Arj, yeah, right.
Arj Barker.
He's Canadian, isn't he?
I think he's from San Francisco. I believe.
Oh wow. Okay.
I'm not sure of this.
But he moved down there because he did so well.
He was doing very well. He still does very well in Australia. Yeah, he moved down there. Yeah.
It's so wild.
There's a few British people who moved there as well, and you become big fish in a small pond type of a thing. It's not a bad career move.
No, it's not bad at all. We're not having any whiskey today because Jim's off the sauce.
I don't drink anymore.
You told me that when we were in Cancun together.
Yeah.
What a trip we had, huh?
Oh, that was wonderful. We did a podcast where we couldn't hear each other.
Couldn't hear anything.
That's always sweet.
Very fun.
I imagine that's how people lip reading give it a go. You just give an answer.
Yeah,
you think may happen.
Right.
You said something to me like, so how's the career going? I go, yeah, the baby's well. You know what I mean?
It lines up anyway.
Yeah, I was just like,
I don't have any dogs.
Yeah.
I don't have a dog. It's like, no. We had to keep moving the best we could. Would you go back if they asked you to do it again?
Cancun?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
The festival's all right.
The festival's fine. I'm a big fan of Just for Laughs. And I didn't know this. I took my son and my ex actually to Cancun.
That's right, you said that.
And my wife was home with the new baby, so I took my son and my ex over to Cancun, and it was a nice little family trip for my boy because we've been locked up indoors for a couple of years. But when I got there, I found out there was a adult side of the resort and a family side, so I was miles away from everybody else.
Oh, you were in the family side?
I was in the family side.
Good
Sorry,
for
I just
you.
burped.
No, I liked it.
And then there was like a shooting next door in the resort next door.
Yeah.
There was a shooting, and everyone's like, "Oh, there's a shooting." And I got the text message sent to me, and I was dining with my 8-year-old. I was just like, "Oh, hey." And I looked at it and I went, "Oh my God, there's an active shooter type of thing." But it's a cartel thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah,
They're not after us.
They're not after me. I'm not cartel-y.
That is how I feel about those kind of things when tragedies happen. You're like, oh, that's not after me. That's fine.
Well, I had many years ago when I was doing the gun thing. I had an active sort of threat that there was going to be a shooting in one of my gigs in Texas.
Somebody said, "Come to Texas, we'll shoot you."
Yeah, we cancelled the gig once because there was a guy who was a pretty good threat that he might come and shoot the place up. Right?
What city?
I don't want to make the people who went there feel bad, but it was Dallas.
Oh.
Anyway, but this is many years ago. Dallas, thank you for coming to the last few shows, right?
They got a good shooting pass there. JFK.
That
was one of the best shootings of all time.
What is it with the fucking book depository? This just shows how cheap real estate was back in the day. Yeah. Prime real estate in the middle. What would we use this high-rise tower? Maybe to use, some corporation can move in there.
Right.
Expensive housing.
Ooh.
Or we could just keep books.
Lots of books.
But couldn't that be in a warehouse on the outskirts of town? Why would we do that? We'll have a lonely book depository in the fucking center. Anyway.
That was made for assassinations.
So we cancelled the show once, and then we went back. The threat wasn't as big, and they think they figured it out and that type of stuff. But then I sort of rang the cops, and I said, "Hey, look, I'm still not feeling super safe here because the threat still keeps coming in. They go, we don't think it's a real thing. I wouldn't worry about it. I go, yeah, but could you, just have
They said that to OJ's wife.
yeah, could you just have a presence?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then they said to me, oh, you can pay for some uniform cops, right? So with my own money, I bought 14 uniform cops.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
How much does that cost?
It was a lot of money. If it was just for a few hours.
Say it,
whatever.
just so we know.
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember the
okay.
figure, but it was enough to bother you.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Anyway, so we had a cop at each door, and then we had 4 cops on the edge of the stage, right? Anyway, so before the show starts, I'm sitting in my dressing room, and next door, all the cops are being briefed in another dressing room, right? And there's like whatever their sergeant is. They call it sergeant in America?
Sure, yeah, I think so.
So the sergeant goes like this. He goes, okay, we're going to need a cop at each door, and we're going to need 4 along the edge of the stage.
Pretty good.
Right? And then one of the cops went, excuse me, Sarge, why are we even here? And then he goes, well, this particular comedian's been getting death threats. And he goes, what's he been getting death threats for? Well, he does a routine on gun control. And then another cop goes, maybe you should learn to shut his fucking mouth then.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
the
this
cops
is
are going to
nice.
shoot you now. Yeah.
These are the ones that are going to protect me. And they weren't even like great cops. They were like fucking highway patrol cops with like the boots outside the pants, those type of
the highway patrol guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Stadies or whatever they call them in the Midwest. Those guys hated you the most because they love to use those guns.
They love them.
You really pissed off the wrong crew of people.
Yeah,
Texas is just not for you, maybe.
I know. I do all right in Texas,
No.
man. The Texas crowds always show up for me. I always used to think that people used to go, because of your comedy, you won't sell well in this market, that market, whatever. There's always people everywhere you go that are,
Sure. Sometimes the market you least expect.
Well, I did so much anti-religion stuff that I never thought I could do, say, Salt Lake City. You know what I mean? Because I thought, the Mormons. And then people show up.
Yeah, just not the Mormons.
For every culture, there's a counterculture, and even if that counterculture, the smaller they are, the more rebellious they seem to be.
Sure.
So
the more they want to show up.
Yeah, they want to show up.
Fighting
and support.
against all the shit.
Yeah.